Just a bit of technical note. We are actually now officially on a 10-minute intermission technical break. But, I'm sorry? Yes, exactly. Sorry. But we're just going to quickly do a little introduction to this night. First of all, thank you very much for coming to the Asian Dramaturgs Network Lab 2018 in Yogyakarta. I just want to have a quick introduction. What you'll be watching tonight, you've already seen the first one, yang pertunjukan pertama, the dance macabre. I will give you details later, and then there will be another lab showing after this. But very quickly, I just want to talk very quickly about Asian Dramaturgs Network yang ditubuhkan di tahun 2016. We have been having meetings since 2016. We are a loose network, secara informal, and Asian Dramaturgs Network (ADN) ini ditubuhkan kerana there was a need yang lahir to talk about dramaturgy with a more specific context of arts practices in Asia. And for the past 2 years, we have been very lucky to have symposiums starting in Singapore. We've had 2 symposiums also in Yokohama, courtesy of TPAM in Yokohama, and we also had a satellite meeting in Adelaide during Oz Asia Festival. What is even better for us this year is that we had 1 symposium in 2007 in TPAM, but this particular meeting of ours is very special, because for the first time we are trying out a laboratory, or what we call a dramaturgical workshop. Before this, selama ini, it's always symposiums where we do panel-panel, roundtable discussion, keynotes. But this particular one in Jogja, we have had 1 day of keynotes, panels that revolve on the topic of dramaturgy from different practitioners from different parts of Asia. So far, ADN has been lucky to have participants from Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Hong Kong, Sri Lanka, India, Philippines, Japan. Did I miss any country? So, but for Jogja, we are very pleased to have a very great collaborative partner, local partner, Cemeti, with Linda and Lyndon helping us to plan this meeting. This tonight is the result of the labs from 2 days ago. 2 days we've had labs, workshops, and now I think I'll pass on to my co-director, Charlene Rajendran, to maybe speak a bit about the labs.
Thank you, Aman. The lab is a space for experiment, and what have we been experimenting with? So, if we need to find new and different ways to learn about performance making and performance, then we need to find new and different ways to create frameworks, create spaces, create processes to understand different roles that performance makers and the creative team that come together to make a performance consist of. So one of the roles that is now growing is the role of the dramaturg. Dramaturgy has been in performance making ever since there has been performance making. The performance makers, whether they're directors, performers, dancers, choreographers, musicians, have their own dramaturgical approach. But increasingly in different parts of Asia, the role of this person who is called a dramaturg, sometimes called a pengganggu, sometimes called a pendamping, I understand, in Indonesia, is present in the creative team. And most of the time, that work is not visible, except to the creative team. But if we are a group of dramaturgs who want to understand what this means, how do we do it? Now I want to say that in our team of people in Asian Dramaturgs Network are choreographers, directors, performers, producers, curators, different people who do dramaturgical work in different ways. So there isn't one fixed way to do it. So this lab was an experiment to find out if we could watch each other working. And in order to do that, we needed to have performance making going on. So the luxury of this lab was that we had two groups of people who were in the process of making a performance. Two very different stages in the process. Bandung Performance Arts Forum hasn't yet made their work. They are very much in process. And Dance Macabre has already had one iteration of the work and is rethinking other ways of doing the work. So the lab was an opportunity for various people to come together from Yogyakarta and different parts of the world to be in conversation with the work, the artistic work, and the artists in the work for 2 days. That's a very short time. In both these works there had been a lot of work before and there will be more work after. And we were just here for 2 days. But during these 2 days, yesterday and the day before, each lab had a lot of time to just sit and listen to each other thinking and doing and imagining and responding, asking questions, making suggestions, doing improvisations, scratching your head, laughing, telling stories, all kinds of different ways in which what happens in a creative process got to happen with a slightly bigger group of people who are not going to continue with the process. So in a way, the lab was an interruption, maybe, in the creative process, hopefully a useful interruption in the creative process. Certainly for Asian Dramaturgs Network, it was incredibly valuable because when we do symposiums and conferences, we do not get to watch a dramaturg or somebody playing the role of dramaturgical thinking working. But in these labs, after some time of understanding what this work is about, who is involved in the work, how the work can grow, what else can happen, it was possible in a very exciting way to listen to each other responding to each other. I don't know how else to put it, because actually what happened was a more complex process. It's not just listening with the ears, it's listening with the body, it's listening with the eyes, it's listening with your whole sense of time and space. We were listening to the work and the artists, we, meaning the dramaturgical team from ADN, and the artists were listening to us in some ways. And building on this, we get to understand certain ideas about performance making that perhaps we didn't get to think about so clearly before. But more importantly, very often there's only one dramaturg in a creative process. And in this instance, for 2 days, it was like a little extension of yourself as a dramaturg. There were different dramaturgs in the room. So you could do your thinking while listening, and you could do your listening while watching, and this kind of overlapping process was very exciting for us. It was very, very significant because it's also very complex. not just from one language to another, but cultures, identities, styles, forms, traditions, cultures, so on and so forth. The labs finish afternoon during the creative process, but very often informal dramaturgical work is the work that friends, families, co-artists, everyone who is here to support the work continues to bring to the meaning of the work, the value of the work, about what ADN is trying to do, what the labs have tried to do. This is our first lab, so it's our first experiment. So we can see now what's missing and what's working. But that's part of the excitement of doing a laboratory. And we thank you all, audience, for coming today, because it feels very nice to have an audience that is interested in this process. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting the artists and the work, and in directly supporting Asian Dramaturgs Network. So, if Lab 1 is ready. So Taufik, you're going to start?
Tapi kita butuh yang
Okay. So we will...
Oke, selamat malam semuanya. Selamat datang di Museum Tropenmuseum Dutch Indies. Di sini saya sebagai peneliti dan saya akan mengenalkan kepada Anda semua satu sosok makhluk. Apakah Anda semua di sini tahu Mamat Modol? Oke. Saya akan memperkenalkan kepada Anda semua sosok Mamat Modol. Mamat Modol adalah seorang pendekar pribumi yang bekerja pada masa penjajahan Belanda. Pendekar sakti. Dia memiliki sebuah jimat yang selalu dibawa kemanapun kecuali ke dalam air. Suatu hari, Mamat sakit perut dan ingin buang air besar. Lalu pergilah dia ke kali. Tiba-tiba datang air bah dan banjir bandang. Dia meninggal hanyut terbawa arus dan tenggelam. Sebenarnya, dari zaman dahulu sudah ada toilet. Namun, toilet hanya dipakai oleh orang Belanda saja. Sedangkan pribumi pergi ke kali. Jadi itulah kenapa disebutnya ia makhluk mamat modal. Terima kasih. Terima kasih kepada para tamu undangan yang telah hadir di Museum Tropenmuseum Dutch Indies. Dengan tepuk tangan.
Good morning to all of you. My name is Ridwan Kamil. I'm the Mayor of Bandung. On behalf of 2.7 million happy people of Bandung, I welcome you, all the great leaders, the tiger of Asia and the lion of Africa. Today I have a special assignment from our humble and great President of Indonesia, Mr. Jokowi, to read the Dasasera Bandung, the Bandung Statement of 1955 Asia-Africa Conference. This 10 principle was formulated by our founding fathers. Number 1, respect for fundamental human rights and for the purposes and the principles of the Charter of the United Nations. Number 2, respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all nations. Number 3, recognition of the equality of all races and of the equality of all nations, large and small. Number 4, abstention from interventions or interference in the internal affairs of another country. Number 5, respect for the right of each nation to defend itself, singly or collectively, in the conformity with the Charter of the United Nations. 6A, abstention from the use of arrangement of collective defense, to serve the particular interest of any big powers. 6b, abstention by any country from exerting pressures on other countries. 7. Refraining from acts or threats of aggression or the use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any country. Number 8. Settlement of all international disputes by peaceful means such as negotiations, conciliations, arbitration, judicial settlements, as well as other peaceful means of the parties' own choice, in conformity with the Charter of the United Nations. Number 9, promotion of mutual interests and cooperations. And the last, respect for justice and international obligations. We hope these 10 principles of 1955 will forever be in our hearts, will forever be the foundation for the future civilization of the great nation of Asia and the great country of Africa. Once again, welcome to Bandung, the capital of Asia and Africa, the first human rights city of Indonesia, and the home of creative and great mind. Have a nice and lovely day. Hatur nuhun.
Tinggal di sini aja, jangan pulang. Atuh, biar banyak orang di sini. Kalau pergi, nanti aku sepi. Ramainya karena banyak orang. Rumah aku kosong. Kalau di rumah banyak orang, aku tidak akan kesini, ke warung ini. Sepi.
Yang paling menarik atau berharga dari rumah saya ketika di Jalan Jakarta yaitu rumah sendiri. Ekonomi penuh, suami masih ada, ibu saya masih ada. Menyenangkan dan menyedihkan. Menyenangkan karena masih serba lengkap. Bangga tersendiri. Suami ada, rumah ada, kebutuhan anak-anak terpenuhi. Terus mama ada dan terpenuhi keinginannya. Mantaplah pokoknya. Nah, yang tidak menyenangkannya yaitu ketika mendengar rumah akan digusur. Begitulah. Rumah akan digusur, kita kan harus nurut dan patuh. Soalnya kita diam di tanah pemerintah.
Sekarang coba bagaimana? Rumah kan enak, tergantung sama penghuninya. Tapi kalau penghuninya tidak bisa berbenah, ya tidak akan betah. Bagaimana cara kita supaya betah? Ya kita jaga. Walaupun bukan rumah sendiri, tapi kita perlakukan seperti rumah sendiri.
Kemarin paman datang, pamanku dari desa, dibawakannya rambutan pisang dan sayur mayur segala rupa. Bercerita paman tentang ternaknya, berkembang biak semua. Kemarin paman datang, pamanku dari desa, dibawakannya rambutan pisang dan sayur mayur segala rupa. Bercerita paman tentang ternaknya, berkembang biak semua.
Saya dari Medan. 2013 pindah ke Bandung. Di Bandung, saya pertama kali tinggal di Jalan Yogyakarta. Hubungan padat, dan saya sama teman-teman mengontrak rumah di sana. Saya mengontrak rumah selama 6 bulan. Mengalami situasi di sana, ada pasar, preman. 6 bulan, pasar habis, saya nggak bisa bayar, bulan keluar. Teman kita, saya baru sadar kalau di Bandung berada ada om. Terus saya tinggal sama saya. Tapi nggak lama. Tinggal sama om hanya sekitar beberapa bulan, karena saya terima kuliah. Setelah terima kuliah, saya memilih untuk ngekos di jalan sekali masuk. Tapi nggak lama juga, karena baru 3 bulan ternyata kosannya bermasalah. Kosannya dijual, saya harus keluar lagi dari kosan. Bingung nyari kosan karena terlalu mahal. Akhirnya saya balik lagi ke mau. 2014 saya masuk ke mau dan saya tinggal di sana hingga sekarang.
Saya tinggal di kompleks Dramaturg di 2000.
kisah untuk cerita teater. Menjahit juga seperti teater, menggunakan feeling. Kalau membuat cerita, mestilah seperti pada umumnya. Cerita orang kampung yang pergi ke kota dan sukses. Jangan cerita seperti kehidupan saya, karena orang lain akan bilang, itu bodoh, tidak mau sukses. Jadi cerita itu mestilah tentang orang-orang sukses, seperti sinetron. Kalau kehidupan saya sekedar cukup makan, seadanya saja. Tapi kehidupan seperti ini jangan diwariskan kepada anak. Anak haruslah sukses. Biarlah hidup seperti ini hanya saya sendiri. Saya belum pernah meminjam uang ke siapapun, apalagi untuk modal. Kalau hutang ke warung sekitar 10.000 atau 5.000 itu wajar. Anak saya pergi sekolah jalan kaki. Mungkin saya terlalu santai. Terkadang saya bertanya pada diri saya sendiri, kenapa hidup saya santai sekali? Tidak punya warisan untuk anak. Mungkin yang terpenting itu ilmu. Sebaiknya jangan mewariskan apapun untuk anak. Orang tua saya juga mengajarkan hal tersebut. Ayah berpesan pada saya ketika pergi belajar menjahit. Pergilah nak, Bapak tidak bisa memberikan apapun untukmu, hanya ini semata.
Dulu, harga rumah saya di Jalan Jakarta mungkin ada 200 juta. Soalnya, bentuk rumah saya itu lucu. Banyak orang tahu rumah saya dan juga rumah ibu saya. Istilahnya, kami orang berada. Kalau mau kasar, kok bisa pindah ke rusun tapi tidak punya perasaan dan tidak betah? Tidak kerasan. Ya mau tidak betah bagaimana? Kalau tidak betah, ya memang tidak betah. Tapi bagaimana lagi? Tanah di mana saya dan ibu saya tinggal bukanlah tanah sendiri.
hujan di tembok, tutup tembok, rumah tertanduk di pintu, di samping token yang menyala minta pulsa.
Token habis, suara umum hanya 5, ibu ngintip bilang 34.
Sasaran jemur, token bersih, tangga yang berdebu.
Ibu bawa galon, naik saya di bungkus plastik, gendong, baju
Jendela kaca,
perempuan, dan duduk, diem, beli, baju dijemur,
teman-teman duduk di pintu
Netra,
tambah ada dapur, jendela kaca,
bola ditambah,
menempel,
anak-anak main,
tembok,
ibu-ibu gusti, jemuran genteng,
token,
Mbak, Mbak Kiki, Mbak.
Bobby, Bob, Bobby, Bobby.
Senam untuk kesehatan. Buat kesehatan saya juga kan. Kalau sudah tua, katanya harus rajin olahraga. Minimal tiap minggu. Enak sampai berkeringat. Keluar keringat. Kan dulu di Jalan Karawang saya juga suka senam. Saya berkeringat, tapi yang lain tidak berkeringat. Orang lain tidak semangat soalnya. Pada di belakang. Kalau saya semangat, paling depan. Yang pada di belakang, semuanya pada lihat pantat saya.
Liverpool, they're a football club steeped in history of spine-tingling glory and at times truly heartbreaking tragedy. But when you are part of Liverpool Football Club, you'll never walk alone.
meski digusur berkali-kali. Mereka tidak akan bisa menghentikan gairah saya terhadap sepak bola. Dimanapun saya tinggal, saya akan bermain sepak bola. Karena itulah hal yang paling indah.
Ini punya anu gas. Tadinya punya. Ini punya gas. Tadinya punya. Nilainya dulu. Ini punya tangguh gas. Bajunya punya. Nilainya dulu. Nah, lagi video.
Demolition continues in our world. People's houses and entire lives are destroyed for all kinds of reasons. So it is an endless process, you might say. It won't end. And the work we are doing here in the Dramaturg Lab is basically about process. And it is very, very difficult to show a process. Because in theatre, it is expected that you complete the product and then you show the product. So it takes a lot of courage, actually, to expose yourself to something that is not completed. And yet the funny thing about process is that sometimes it can be more powerful than the finished product. Because you see things in the cracks, sudden things that are so real or so vulnerable that they hit you and they move you very deeply. So I think that one is very grateful to the Asian Dramaturgs Network and to our two Indonesian partners and to all the actors in particular for exposing themselves to this kind of scrutiny, like we're an audience here, but they haven't completed the play. They're in the middle of the play. And to do that, I think is something very special, very rare for us as spectators, for us as dramaturgs. And I think there was something very special about this audience, because the concentration of the audience, I think, contributed towards the dramaturgy. And indeed, I will agree with Charlene that the audience is a kind of dramaturg. So we're looking very much forward to your question and answer in this very informal manner. Thank you for being here.
Hello, my name is David Fletcher. And I'm from Australia, and I'm the artistic director of a company called Not Yet It's Difficult. And the reason that the company is called Not Yet It's Difficult is because I was often asked about whether or not the works that we had done were finished. And so I would answer, not yet, it's difficult. And in fact, I would say that most of my works that I've done with the company, I still think of them as not being finished. And in that way, I think it reflects the working life of the artist. And the works that we've seen tonight, both from Lab 1 and Lab 2, I hope have benefited from the dramaturgical intervention of the ADN in the spirit of considering the work that gets made and made over and iterated and grooved and developed and shaped and structured requires the intervention of many people. And I love what Charlene said before about the audiences and dramaturgical intervention in the work, because that actually suggests that the work continues. Lab 2, the artists from the lab that I've been in the last couple of days, Nindit and Puspang and Febri and Sita, I'd just like to say personally what an absolute privilege it was to be part of that process for 2 days, and the courage and the bravery that you showed us over the last 2 days, and indeed tonight. I have great respect for you. Thank you very much.
We'd like to invite the artists of Lab 1 and... one more. I'm so sorry, we forgot Marianne.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just going to actually not zoom out, but zoom in on two things. One is the use of text, so which I brought up already in Lab 2, but just generally, the choices that we make. How is text being created and why? How is text integrated with movement and why? When is text not in both pieces? Text is used in a variety of ways, and I think those are questions which are useful to sort of focus in on how is text manipulated with movement and in performance. And the second thing is basically performance making, or the process, as Rustam said. Basically we do what we do because we want to tell stories. And it's a whole range of stories. So then the questions which I would probe would be, why are we choosing to tell this story in this particular way? And is this particular way the most effective, the best way to tell this story? So those are, the kinds of questions maybe to zoom into. And for me, coming from Malaysia, by the way, sorry I married a Chris from Malaysia, by the way. But here in Indonesia, I think there's an incredible potential for digging deep into the intra-cultural situation. So between the Javanese and the Malay from Sumatra and the person from Madura and the person from Baling, and on and on and on and on. I think that in itself is a very rich landscape which doesn't happen in many places in the world. But here in Indonesia, you have that very rich possibility. And again, the interesting thing for me is to sort of probe into what are the possibilities of that scape, that landscape. Thank you very much to both labs for sharing your stories with us. Thank you.
Now we'd like to invite the artists from Lab 1 and Lab 2 on stage so we can begin the question and answer session. Can we give them a round of applause? And also the dramaturgs.
Sebelum kita mulai tanya jawab, saya mau mengatur tentang penerjemahan karena ini nanti akan bolak-balik dalam bahasa Indonesia dan bahasa Inggris. Ada Mbak Agni di sini dan Mas Vicky di sana. Jadi Mas Vicky akan menerjemahkan untuk yang dari Indonesia ke Inggris, dan kemudian
I involved in Lab 1, but I'm interested to know because someone said that they'll revisit this work because this for Lab 2 this work is presented before. What is the urgency to do it again and to revisit this work?
Ya, jadi seseorang mungkin sebelumnya sudah menyebutkan bahwa karya yang ditampilkan sudah jadi mengunjungi kembali karya tersebut dan sebelumnya sudah pernah ditampilkan. Lalu pertanyaan saya kurang lebih kebutuhannya apa untuk menghadirkannya kembali atau